Welcome to Learning Microsoft Word with Dee. This is the second video, so we're going to work on finding your way around Microsoft Word. The first video was how to find and open up Microsoft Word. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to remind you about our mouse here. We have our left click, and I'm going to say click on, and I mean for you to click the left button. And when I say double click, I mean for you to click fast. And when I say right click, I mean for you to click the right button on your mouse. Great. Now let's have a look about your far right, and at the bottom you're going to see this toolbar right here. My picture is over it, so that should kind of help you find the area. What I want you to do is I want you to find this little area right here. This is all the way over to your right and all the way at the bottom. You're going to see this little area where it says 100%. It has a little minus sign, a little down arrow, and this is a slider, and a little plus button. Now what it is this is called a zoom slider. It's because it zooms in and out. So you're going to get really small, and then you're going to get really big. So when I move the slider over towards the plus sign, your paper is going to get larger and you're going to see more because the words and the pictures are going to get bigger. And then with the minus sign, things are going to get smaller, but you're going to see several pages at once if you have multiple pages. So let's get started. It's going to be right below under my picture, so move your mouse over there, and I'm going to grab this slider and I'm going to move it towards the plus sign. See how big we're getting? Okay, now I'm going to move it towards the minus sign. And I'm going to move it all the way over so you can see what happens. And boom. So now I'm going to move it back to about where I had it so that you can see this nice and well. Maybe. Let me click on the plus sign some. There we go. So if you click on the plus sign, it's going to move it over just a little bit. It's going to make it bigger by little increments. This is what happens. Show you. And then the minus sign, little increments. It makes it nice, but if you really want to do it fast, just grab a hold of the slider, that little arrow, and left click, and then go ahead and move all the way to your plus or all the way to your minus. Okay, so now the next thing I want you to see in Microsoft Word here is right over there by your slider. You're going to see this little round button right here, and it's in between those two double arrows, and I want you to go ahead and click on that, and you're going to come up with a toolbar right here. And this toolbar, each of these icons are called something, but this is the graphic icon. And when you put your mouse over each of these, they will show you the name, but I want you to concentrate on the graphic one. The graphic one looks like mountains in the sun right here. So go ahead and click on that. And once you put your mouse over it without even clicking, it will show you what it is. And here it says browse by graphic. And so you would just click on that, and it's going to bring you to the first image in your document, in your piece of paper here. So when you do that, another thing you can do is go right back to that round button right there, and then click on that graphic icon again, and there it goes. It went to the next image that I have on this document. So if you have children's pictures or grandchildren's pictures or whatever you've placed on here, you can just keep clicking that if you really want to just go from image to image to image rather than going through all of the writing that you have in here. Okay, so another thing I want you to notice too is when you clicked on that little round button, these two arrows turn blue. These are double arrows, one points up and one points down. What we call them is previous page and next page, because it will scroll up to the previous when you click on the double up arrows, and it will scroll down to the next page when you click on the double arrows that face down. So let's go ahead and explore those buttons. So I'm going to, right now where I'm at, I'm going to go ahead and click on the previous button, the double set arrows that point up. You see that? I'm going to do it again, and I keep going up. And what I'm doing is I'm paging up. I'm going to the next page, the page above it, the previous page. So now what I want to do is I want to show you what happens when you click the double down arrows, which is the next page arrows. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then I'm going to the next page. We call that paging up and paging down. So when people say they're paging up, that's what they mean. When they say they're paging down, that's what they mean. They're going to the next page or going up to the previous page. Let's also discover when we were looking at our zoom icon that made the paper go large and small. Let's look at the area right to the left of it. So to your left. And the first thing I want you to look at is this set right here. I want you to look at this first one, which we call the print layout. So go ahead and click on the print layout, and this is exactly what happens. Do you see how nothing really happened to my screen? Something might have happened to yours, but nothing happened to my screen because this is what it looks like when it's printed on the piece of paper. Now go ahead and explore the other four. This one sets it side by side. Basically it takes up your whole screen is what's happening. Now you might not see a way to get out of this, so if you look at your keyboard, if you go all the way up and all the way to the left, you're going to see an exit button or escape button. I call it exit, but it's really called an escape button. The reason why I call it an exit button is because I can usually get out of anything by pressing it. So it is ESC. ESC. And go ahead and press it. It's all the way up to the top and all the way to the left. It's that button right there. ESC. Go ahead and click it, and it's going to bring you back to where you were. The next thing I want to show you is this, the third icon. So this one is called the web layout, and the previous one was called full screen reading because it took up the whole screen. So let's go to this one, which is called web layout, but don't worry what things are called. It doesn't really matter. You're just learning so that you can make life easier, not so that you can make life more complicated. So that stuff will come to you naturally. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the web layout, the one with the little world right here. You see that world? And I think of it as World Wide Web, since it's called the web layout, and it has a world there, World Wide Web. That's easier to remember for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and this is what you get, this layout. This layout is just showing you what it looks like if you had a website. So if this was the website, this is how it would appear. Another thing is this third button, or fourth button right here. I wish I could count. No. The fourth button right here, this is called the outline layout. And this, I'm going to click that next so you can see what an outline layout looks like. And this is what you've got. And you can't really see everything, so let me move it over. And this is what the web layout looks like, where it has all these punctuations right here so that bullet points is what it is, so that you can have you can actually make statements. Basically, you'll say things like, if you say for a recipe, this is what you would start out with right here. These are called bullet points, but don't worry about what they're called. They're just like a punctuation. So what it is it just kind of says, hey, right here I am. So this would be like, sort of with your recipe, you have your list of ingredients and then you have what to do. Well, your list of ingredients sometimes has these bullet points, and it will say things like eggs, baking soda, flour, potatoes, things like that. So that will give you that access right there. The next thing we want to look at is let me move this back over for you. The next thing we want to look at is that last one there, and you can't see it until I get back. So let me get back to our normal. What I'm going to look at right here is this last one, okay? And in this case, this is called the draft. So don't worry too much about what things are called again. Just play around. So the draft layout looks just like this, and I'm going to move this over so you can see it. And this is basically just kind of like the typewriter look, except you're not looking at a piece of paper. This is a lot like what it looked like in the old times when computers first came out. We had DOS, and when we typed on DOS, it looked just like this. We had to work it as a keyboard because we had to make sure that we had entered to where when you use a typewriter and you push it all the way over so it can go to the next line, we had to push a certain button so that it would go to the next line. So in this case, I'm just going to click the escape button so I can get back to our normal where we were. Alright, great. So the next thing we want to kind of focus on is playing with all these. So what I want you to do, the reason why I went back to this is because what I want you to do before you go on to the next video is come back to here, come back to this way of layout. So that right here, this is called print layout. This is where I want you to come to next, is the print layout, that first one there, because we're going to write a letter. So this is going to be exciting. We're going to start your first letter, and you don't have to use a typewriter. So I'll see you then. Bye.